On the left is choice, or double A. In the center, good, or grade A. And on the right, utility, or grade C. Note that the choice hindquarter on the left is more chunky than the lower utility grade on the right. Higher grades have more meat covering on the ribs, and the shoulders are stockier. Meat graders refer to this build or shape of an animal as conformation. Conformation is an important factor in grading. Secondly, on the outside and on the inside of high-grade beef will be found a generous amount of light-colored, waxy fat. The ribs are well covered with fat on the inside as well as on the outside. Here you can see evidence that the creamy white fat also goes down into the meat and is distributed throughout the lean of the whole beef. This distribution of fat is known as marbling. Marbling is perhaps one of the best indications of high-grade meat. Now, let's compare still more closely. Note the color of the outside fat. On the left, the utility grade is definitely more yellow than the choice grade on the right. In the ribs of this utility grade is but little fat, but the choice grade has plenty, and it goes well down into the lean. In the choice hindquarters, the amount and quality of the fat greatly exceeds that of the lower grade utility. Here, the fat, its color and distribution are clearly shown with the lean. In porterhouse steaks or in any retail cut, you still can see these same grading factors. The conformation or build of the animal is still evident. The utility grade above does not have the chunkiness or plumpness of the choice grade. As to finish or fat distribution, the choice grade has an abundance of white and waxy fat. These are rib steaks. The marbling is very evident. Note the streaks of white fat in the lean meat of the choice grade, while there is little in the utility grade. Fat is important because it seals in water-soluble flavor elements and adds to tenderness. Having considered the conformation, finish, and quality of beef, the grader rolls his stamp on each side in such a manner that the grade will clearly show on each primal part. You will find these grade marks on nearly every piece of meat you buy. There are 5 standard grades. First of these 5 grades is choice, or double A. Good, or A. Commercial, or grade B. And utility, or C. The canner, and still a lower grade called cutter, are not common in retail markets. With inspection and grading stamps on each side, the beef is delivered to the wholesale or retail butcher and is now ready for retail cutting. OPA regulations specify the only manner in which beef can be cut. The whole side of beef, according to these regulations, is first cut into 2 large pieces, the hindquarter and the forequarter. This cut must be made between the 12th and 13th ribs. Regulations specifying beef cuts assure the customer that he is getting the exact piece for which he pays a certain ceiling price and a certain number of points. The forequarter and the hindquarter must now be divided into 4 principal parts, which are known as the standard primal cuts. Most retail cuts of meat are named after these primal cuts. In the hindquarter, the first primal cut removes the leg piece. This leg piece is called the round. The other part is called the loin. With this cut, the butcher separates the round, one of the primal cuts, from the loin. The loin, or back, is composed largely of tender, supporting muscle. You pay a higher ceiling price per pound and more points for this meat. There is not much of it in a beef. The round, on the other hand, is composed largely of muscles of locomotion and is not quite so tender. Regulations require that all meat be trimmed of fat in excess of 1 inch in thickness, but neither grade nor health stamp can be removed. The second primal cut is the belly piece and is called the flank. By measuring with a ruler the exact place to cut, the customer is assured that no part of the less expensive flank is included on the more expensive loin piece immediately above. By the way, flank steaks and Swiss steaks come from this cut. Now, before the loin can be cut further, it must first be trimmed of fat. The kidney knob of heavy fat is removed. This rich suet contains the kidney. In the loin are 2 primal cuts. The thick piece called the sirloin, and the part which contains T-bone steaks called the short loin. The loin contains the choicest meat in the steer. T-bone and sirloin steaks come from this section. Like the hindquarter, the forequarter is also to be cut into 4 primal cuts. The first cut removes the more expensive rib section from the lower priced shoulder and front leg. First, the skirt steak is removed. Now the butcher counts 5 ribs. And between the 5th and 6th ribs, a cut is made which divides the forequarter in 2. Note how clearly each piece displays both health and grading stamps. On the left is the breast, or brisket, foreleg and shoulder. On the right, the whole rib section. In this rib section are more of those tender supporting muscles that make for tasty eating. Below the rib section is the lower breast, called the short plate. The short ribs are part of the prime rib. A stick 10 inches long accurately divides the ribs from the less expensive plate. Below this cut, the quality is that of stew and boiling meat. You also pay a fairly high point value for ribs, but the plate has little or no point. 3 inches may also be removed from the ribs to form the short rib retail cut. This whole rib section, showing the short ribs removed, is now complete. The remainder of the forequarter is now divided into the last 2 primal cuts. The large shoulder piece is called the chuck. This piece contains numerous rolls. Once more, the OPA uses a measuring stick to draw a price line between the higher and lower priced meat. This cut separates the chuck from the lower priced brisket and foreshank. The chuck or shoulder contains largely muscles of locomotion which are less tender. The chuck is best prepared by the use of moist heat, that is, pot roasting or boiling. In the remaining primal cut of the forequarter, the foreshank is lifted, revealing the brisket or breast piece. Separating the foreshank and brisket completes the primal cutting of the forequarter. Here are the 4 primal cuts, the wholesale pieces: brisket and foreshank, chuck, ribs and short ribs, and short plate. And we are now ready to recut the primal pieces into the retail cuts you see daily in the butcher shop. With the primal cuts well in mind, we can now proceed to the individual steaks and roasts found in retail counters. Starting with the hindquarter, the short loin with its tender meat